This week we're headed back to Alberta to hunt with Big Tine Adventures. We've been out there hunting with Blake before. We were excited to get back and see him and his family. We were actually out there a few years ago to hunt with our rifles, mule deer for our honeymoon. We were both able to harvest some great bucks, so we decided it's definitely a place we wanted to go back to, and we happened to get lucky enough to get in on an archery hunt this year.
A few years back when me and Megan went on our honeymoon, I wanted to, when she agreed to go hunting for our honeymoon, I decided that I wanted to try to find a hunt, not that you're guaranteed to shoot one, but one that we really enjoy ourselves, see a lot of animals. And I had heard great things about Blake with Big Tine Adventures, and we were fortunate enough to get in there. Usually has a waiting list to get a hunt in. He called me with an opening for an archery hunt, and I've always wanted to shoot a velvet deer, whitetail mule deer. I just never killed anything in velvet. So we jumped on the opportunity and went out there with our bows, and we had a blast. I mean, we chased deer around all week. I know I missed an absolute giant that they ended up killing a couple weeks later, and I know Megan got on some great deer. But the whole experience, his family is great. He's got two little girls that, they're down there and you're eating dinner, and it makes it fun because, we hadn't seen them for a couple of years, so to see how they've grown, especially having our own daughter. Now, it's cool to, stay in touch and watch them as they grow. And his wife that does the cooking, Farron, she's great. His other guide, Chad, he's a great dude. His real name's Brian, but I'm not gonna tell anyone that. We spent the whole week with him, and that's actually who we hunted with, was Chad, and Blake did a lot of scouting for us.
That's over there on the oak. They're just standing around there eating. So. Let's go watch him and I'll go look for something else.
Alrighty.
Alright, see you later.
Perfect. But we had a blast. Definitely a hunt I'll never forget. Wait, we're going here in Canada?
Yeah, right. I think so.
Let's just get you checked in. And how many bags are you checking in today, including the boat?
Two including.
Thank you. And just got the bag. Oh, just lay my arm. Thanks for leaving the bag. So this is just
Almost that time to get hunting again. Now as long as everything showed up, that's the biggest thing. We need our bows. Well, we're about 10 miles out here of where we're going to be staying for the next 6 days. First trip of the year here in Alberta, going to chase some mule deer. We're going to meet up with Blake, Big Tine Adventures. Megan's inside getting milk, a few last things we might need for the week. Got a lot of high hopes. Temperatures are going to be a little warmer than what we want, but he's been seeing deer and he's been seeing a lot of good ones. So looking for old mature buck this week here in Alberta.
What's that? No.
Hang on to this, remember? So up in Alberta, how Blake runs his operation, he has the rights to a certain amount of units, the outfitting rights, and he also, within that unit, has to get permission from all the different landowners to hunt on their land. So that helps us out in the fact that we had tons of different miles of land that we could drive to and look for deer. We were able to go, cover such a broad amount of area that we were pretty much spend the day driving around in the truck, checking out these different areas, getting out, walking around a little ways, just kind of glassing, seeing if we're able to see anything on those different hunks of land that he's got permission on for us to hunt.
Yeah, that's why to some people it might look like, we're just road hunting, but I mean, when you're out there, the mule deer actually live in the canola fields this time of year. When the canola is tall like that and green, the deer are living in it. So the best way to do it is there's no high points to get onto glass to try to find them. I mean, it's flat. So you're just driving around, covering as much ground as you can, trying to find one. So that's, I guess you'd call it road hunting, if that's how you look at it, but it's the most effective way to see the most deer and find one that you'd possibly want to shoot.
And a lot of the time, they're not even just standing. We didn't just, you know, happen to pull up and they're standing there. We driving by and you happen to spot a pair of horns sticking out of the canola, you know, just high enough to see above the canola, and then you have to kind of wait it out and get out and sneak up on it. So it's definitely not just pulling up and shooting them style.
She just put it perfect. It doesn't happen like you think it does. I mean, you don't just drive around and see them and, you know, shoot them. You don't have a gun in your hand. It's bow. You got to play the wind. The canola is really loud. You can't just sneak through it.
Off the 2017 season. It's my first guided archery hunt, my first mule deer archery hunt, so hopefully it'll be a lucky one for me and show Wes up.
Yeah, hopefully she shoots one a little smaller than mine and we'll be good, otherwise I'll never hear the end of it all year. So, but no, it'll be, the weather finally turned. It's been real warm and had a cold front come through today and rained, and the rain just quit, so we're gonna go scouting tonight for tomorrow morning and hopefully find a big old mule deer. I think I'm up first, so Megan will have to wait, but.
We're gonna rock, paper, scissors it. Oh.
Yeah, I'm up first. That's what I thought.
Does that mean you have to go on the first one we find, or the first one you agree to go on?
First one that we agree to go kill. Evening number 1 here, and we started out with a bang right away. Blake's got one bedded in a canola field, so we're gonna put a stock on. We're not sure if it's a shooter or not yet, but it's good practice. And you never know, maybe it's a big one. Maybe we'll get one down here the first night in Alberta. Well, it was a good stock. Got about 70 yards from him. This wasn't what we were looking for, smaller 3x3, so it's the first night. Looking for big mature deer, and he was definitely younger deer, so. But it was good, we got close to him, so good start. Hopefully find another one. Make sure to check out Precision Outdoors on Instagram and Facebook.
Well, the sun's going down on day 2 here in Alberta. Day 1 was pretty eventful. We had a lot of activity. You know, today 2's been a little bit more slow up until about an hour before sunset here. We spotted 2 bucks out in a field. They're definitely worth taking a closer look at, so we're just gonna kind of watch them for a little bit here. Hopefully they'll stay in the area overnight, and we'll get back out here tomorrow. Tomorrow's a new day, and hopefully we'll be able to get a closer look at them.
I honestly don't think there's much we can do.
Well, we went in blind on a really nice old mature buck. We knew kind of where he was, but we didn't know exactly what clump of trees he was in. just so happened the first clump we come to was the one he was in, and he's seen us before we seen him. But he was in a good spot too. It's too bad, but he didn't spook too bad. He went to the next bigger clump of trees. So hopefully he stops there. We're just gonna give him a little time to settle down and try to locate him again, maybe get back in on him. So definitely a big, big mature buck, really, really nice. So keep our fingers crossed, just kind of hang out, let him relax, and get back on him. We were actually fortunate enough to find a really good group of deer right by Blake's house towards the end of the hunt, and they weren't in canola. They were in a kind of a grassy field, which made it hard for stalking in some sense, but easier as far as noise goes. And we actually spent the last 2-3 days going after those deer.
So after a few days of driving around, spotting a lot of good deer, we made a few stalks that didn't quite pan out for us. So we decided to set up kind of near where we had seen the group of bucks that were coming out every night. We decided to set up a ground blind out in the field, kind of one direction we'd seen them going, and Wes and Chad got to the other end where the other direction that they might have ended up going. We just wanted to kind of cover both ends of the field, see which way they ended up coming out.
At first, we thought the ground blind was going to work perfect. The deer started feeding right towards Meghan, basically on line with you. And then for some reason, they changed their mind and they turned like deer do. That's why they're big. And they went another direction. Well, me and Chad were fortunate enough to get around, and we were, basically 20 yards from them, but on the other side of a fence line. And all these deer had to do was cover about 10 yards to our left, and I had a wide open shot. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better situation. Besides the fact that they didn't do that. Right before dark, I mean, we thought we were gonna have the pick of the litter on all these deer. They decided, they kind of spooked. I don't know if they winded us, I don't know what the deal was, but these deer actually come running through the tree line at us, and they popped out at about 40 yards. And I made a shot on one, and I shoot a 1-pin sight, and I do know where my bow shoots at different yardages, if something happens quick. No excuses but my own. I shot low and hit the deer low in the front shoulder. And then it actually ended up going over by you guys.
Yeah, we were able to watch the whole thing from a distance. We were able to watch them, kind of stalking in on them, watch the deer come out, and we watched him run after Wes hit him, and he crossed right in front of the ground blind, and so we were able to get a kind of a good look at where he had hit him and how injured he looked.
And and we didn't think it was a fatal shot, but we still spent, I don't know what it was, the next day and a half going through, and we had blood, but we had thought we had seen the deer and thought he was fine, but like I said, we looked and I mean, we just couldn't find the deer. So the nice part is where this deer was, there's a good chance that we were going to see him again, because it is wide open, little strips of trees, but all we needed to do was catch that deer out feeding one more time so we could try to make a play on him again.
So on the last day of our hunt, just a little while after our morning hunt, Wes and Chad decided they were just going to go out, give it one more look, one last effort to maybe see this buck one last time, hopefully maybe get a stalk in on him, or maybe even find him dead, just see what they could find. And they, lo and behold, there he was, laying in the canola field.
Yeah, it's him. Yep. Well, we're here on our last day in Alberta, and I wounded a buck on night 4, hit him front and low, looked for him, never found him, found some blood, but he went a long ways. We're just on our way back over, middle of the day here, just kind of doing a little scouting before the night hunt, and looked out in the field, there's a buck standing there. And wouldn't you know, it's him. We hadn't got a chance to see him since I hit him. We knew he was still alive. He went miles, and bled good in spots, but we had seen where we hit him on the video and knew it wasn't fatal, but it's, it was still nice to lay eyes on him. field he was in was not perfect because it was more of a dried canola. It was loud. And we were very fortunate enough they had sprayed the canola a couple days before that. So we had wheel tracks going down the field that we could go and sneak down. Well, we wanted to get everyone over there, so we called Meghan and Blake and had them get over there. We were only, about a mile from Blake's house. Got them over there, and that's where we started talking and making a game plan how we could try to, finish the deer, shoot the deer that I had already hit a few days before that. I mean, it was kind of a perfect situation in that fact that it was a deer that we had set out to get, hit him, was sick about not, making a bad shot on him and having a second opportunity to harvest the same buck.
It's going to be a hard stalk, but he is hurting.
Yeah.
He's not going to be,
He ain't gonna run away.
he's not going to run away. He'll probably go to the first cover he can find, which is going to be that willow bluff, and we can try to have her sitting there waiting for him.
Lay down.
See if we can't get a shot at him and finish him off here this afternoon.
The deer stood up, and when I drew back, I thought, in my head, I seen the deer, and I thought he was gonna bolt because the way he was acting, but he was actually just hadn't got his rear end all the way up yet. So I kind of forced the shot. That's my own fault. Live and learn, obviously, and I missed the deer. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better situation. The buckhead went through the trees and got into another field, and he was kind of just standing there. So we made a game plan that we were gonna just go around quickly and get in front of him, and this deer just kind of was feeding his way. I don't know, not so much feeding, but just walking his way to another group of trees a little ways away. And we were very lucky that we got in front of this deer as soon as we did. Blake and Chad, kudos to them for, coming up with a game plan.
Started making its way in closer to us. He looked like he was, kind of perfectly right in between Wes and I. And just last minute, I was crouched down behind a fence and I was ready. Last minute, he just bolted towards us. And at the time, I hadn't known that it was because Wes had shot him. But once he got closer, I could kind of see some blood coming out. I was on this, on the side where his exit shot was back a little bit, so I didn't know, was it a good shot or not? I could just see the exit shot, so I was able to make a perfect shot on him. Right through the lungs, and he didn't go about 40 yards.
Yeah, he didn't go very far at all. So me and Megan both made great shots on him and got him down. You can't be happier. I can't thank Blake and Chad with Big Tine Adventures enough. Chad guided us all week and put up with our BS, and it wouldn't be the last time we come up to Alberta to hunt with Blake and Chad, that's for sure. He was here a couple years ago and killed a couple great muleys with our guns, and yeah, just can't say enough about his operations, and what people need to understand is it's hunting. You don't come up here and expect to kill a deer the first morning. You got to work for it, but I mean that's what it's supposed to be. That's why it's hunting. That's what we enjoy about it, and when it all comes together like this, it's rewarding. So can't wait to be back.
An awesome hunt, definitely one for the books.
Yeah, and you'll definitely want to tune in next week. Corey, which is doing the editing and a lot of filming for me this year, was heading out to North Dakota to hunt at his buddy's place on an early season whitetail hunt. And I mean, you'll have to watch next week, but it is one hunt I don't think he'll ever forget.